Hi, folks who are joining. We're just giving some time for a few more people to join, and we will begin in a couple of minutes. Maybe less. So good morning, everyone. Good morning and welcome to this monthly series that we are running with Simpl. It's actually simply called Learn with Simpl. It's going to be taking us through various aspects of D2C entrepreneurship, which has taken a full and life of its own here in India now. Post-pandemic, prior to pandemic, yesterday we had a discussion. We used to have a special interest group at TIE called the Retail Special Interest Group. Many things happened. Things sort of, went their own way during the pandemic. And today we have this whole new category called D2C that everybody wants to have a pie of, and everybody wants to be building businesses, talking to businesses, investing in businesses. And therefore the series, and we really thank Simpl for actually bringing in this, and we love to collaborate on this one with them. Today's session is going to be talking about insourcing versus outsourcing, and we have two very interesting founders here today. We have Deep Bajaj. Deep Bajaj is from Sirona P-Buddy. He's been very, very closely associated with us at TIE Delhi NCR. We consider him as one of our own, and he's going to be on the panel today. We also have Neemans. We were supposed to be having Taran here today. Taran has had some personal emergency. We have, therefore, with us today Vikas Kabra. Vikas is an entrepreneur, has been an entrepreneur himself, and he's now an entrepreneur in residence with Neemans, which is one of the fastest growing brands in India today. And of course, they are moderated by Nitya Sharma. Nitya is the founder of Simpl. So without taking much time, I would hand you guys over to them. Just a little bit of a thing on questions. Towards the end of this webinar, we keep about 10 minutes or so for questions. In the meanwhile, if you have questions, please keep on putting them on the chat or on the Q&A tab here itself, and the questions, we'll take them towards the end of the webinar. So over to Nitya, Deep, and Vikas.
Awesome. Thank you, Upasna ji. Hi, Nitya, and hi, Vikas.
Yeah, thank you, Upasna, for setting the background here. And Deep and Vikas, great to connect and look forward to the chat. As you know, the attempt for this conversation and the series of these conversations we are doing almost every month is to bring out the learnings from doing, from the mistakes entrepreneurs make, and of course, the right things we do, so that the future entrepreneurs, the community that we call the D2C, is able to, stand on the shoulders of people who have already done it, and hopefully not repeat the same mistakes, learn and improvise, and overall, not just be a part of the pie, but increase the pie. So today we'll be talking about, for the most part, and typically the fun part about these conversations is we can take tangents and we can just dig into things that is generally going to be valuable. But today, largely we'll be talking about insourcing versus outsourcing. What that means is, as anybody starts a business or a product, you start with very, very limited resources, and regardless of how big you become or what scale you have, there is always, for what you need to get done for the future, there's always limited resources. So you always have to ask a bunch of questions. What do we build today? What do we buy today? What we just don't do, what we do, etc. And so, yeah, we'll focus on that. Deep, let's start with you. Upasana made a very quick introduction, but it'll be good just to tell the listeners your story. You started, what was the aha moment? How did you start? What is the mission behind the company? And just like anything that is interesting about the journey so far, And that'll be a very good context to build on the next set of questions.
Oh, thanks. Yeah. So hi everyone. I'm Deep. I am a part of Sirona. We are a organization which looks and solves unaddressed intimate and menstrual hygiene issues faced by women with our unique products. So that's the space where we're in. As a startup, we are known for disrupting this category pretty much with bringing in at least 10 plus products which were not here in the country at all. So extremely disruptive and innovative in that sense. And the minimum, the broad subcategories where we operate are toilet hygiene, period hygiene, intimate hygiene, and sexual wellness for women. Those are the 4 subsections. And we start with toilets with P Buddy, which became India's first stand and pee device for women, using which women can stand and pee in unfriendly toilets. And the whole genesis was, women don't get clean toilets when they're traveling. So unlike men who can stand and pee, women have to wipe the seats. It is sort of an inconvenience. So we thought, can you just take your portable toilet with you wherever you want to go? So back in the days, 2013, 14 is when this whole thing started with P Buddy as the first habit-changing product, and then we moved on to other issues like what if you want to use the toilet for extended duration? So toilet seat covers, toilet deodorizers, so all under P Buddy. And then Sirona introduced path-breaking menstrual hygiene products, right, from menstrual pain relief patches, because hot water bottles cannot be taken to office, and your painkillers have side effects. So a herbal solution, it's a patch, it's a bigger band-aid. You can just put it on and get around your day. And then got into sustainable menstrual hygiene solutions like menstrual cups. Today, about 1 million women use Sirona menstrual cups, tampons, pads, liners, so on and so forth. And then continued innovations by bringing in products like there is nothing for period stains. So we came up with India's first period stain remover. There is nothing for disposal of sanitary products. India's first sanitary disposal bag, which are oxo-degradable. Rash creams were not there for rashes in intimate areas. So all that is a dialogue that Sirona does. We are a D2C, largely D2C first brand, online first as it was fashionably called back then. Ship 3.5 lakh orders every month. And yeah, so all in all, puberty to menopause, look at these problems for women, try to solve them. 150 of us have managed our own warehouse so far. So it was a very interesting topic when you spoke about, insourcing versus outsourcing. Have dwelled upon this for multiple things, right? From warehousing solutions to marketing to design. I think that we've been down that road in these last 6-7 years. In terms of funding, bootstrapped for the first couple of years, and Indian angel network. In fact, I hold in very high regard because we were explored. I would say we came to the limelight because of Tie the Knot back then. It was some CNBC Young Turks Tie the Knot, where we got Indian angel network. Then another round. Recently did a strategic with Good Group, which is a 100 crore raise, and scaling the business. That's what it is.
Awesome, Nick. That was, thanks for the introduction. Vikas, would love to hear from you and what Neeman is doing, and that'll be awesome. And then we can start deep dive into the topic at hand.
Definitely. Thanks Deep for introducing with Sirona as well. So this definitely helps. Now to talk about Neemans. So Neemans is a sustainable first fashion brand, right? We are into sustainable footwear. Right, so we started our journey with merino wool. So it's a wool sourced from New Zealand and Australia. Again, then we sort of ventured into multiple, sustainable initiatives in terms of footwear. Right, so we started with, footwear made out of recycled plastic bottles, footwear made out of sustainably grown cotton or organic cotton. Then we have footwear made out of recycled tires, right, and then lately we also launched footwear made out of trees, right, and these are trees which are sustainably grown again, right. So yeah, the journey has been pretty exciting. We have also, we were bootstrapped in the initial 1.5 years, I would say, right, and that is when we had our own MVP, a product market fit, right. Then that is where we got into the market, and then we raised funds, right. But what has definitely helped us is the amount of response that we have received from the market, especially towards sustainability, right? Sustainability, when we launched, we were very new into the space within the footwear space in India, and that too, sustainable footwear is something that was completely untapped, I would say. But yeah, I mean the response from the customers has been overwhelming, right? And we have been shipping good, up to 1 lakh units in a month, right? So that's a pretty good response in last couple of years. So, and looking forward to it further, right? And happy to take the conversation ahead. There are a lot many things when it comes to insourcing, outsourcing, right? Which we also intend to talk about, right? What makes sense? I mean, Deep also spoke about, warehousing. He spoke about marketing and product as well, right? So what are the things that make sense to insource, outsource? That's a constant battle we also talk about internally. So happy to share our thoughts over this session. Yeah.
Awesome. Thanks, Vikas. So as we talk about this topic, I think it might be good to break the sort of the framework into maybe 4 buckets. One bucket, let's call it technology, right? A website, experience on the website, all the things that are sort of, let's say, internet first. That's one. The second is marketing, which is mostly digital marketing, but other sort of marketing, but different from engineering. So let's think about marketing as the second bucket. The third bucket would be the product, right? You build something, right? It's a build out of something, somebody's manufacturing it. So, let's think about the product. And then last but not least is, let's call it supply chain, right? Warehousing, logistics, etc. So let's call it that 4 large buckets. And let's hit on each separately. Let's start with technology first. And Deep, let's start with you. So you started, I think, 7 years ago, 2015, is that right? Yeah. Which is also when we started Simpl. So same. You started when D2C was definitely not cool, right? There was no word called D2C. So you guys were the trailblazers. And as you said, you started with almost no resources, right? So you started something, you believed in something, and then you had to build a website and you have to do all those things and maybe even place physically. How do you think about, and then of course you've taken a journey and now you have raised a lot of money and successful, but still the opportunity is so big. So I'm sure you are still thinking about engineering and what you do today and what you don't. Walk us through the journey. What are the decision-making frameworks you made? Where were the places, very importantly, you made mistakes? You feel, oh, this was the wrong decision we made. We built our own website. It took us so long. Instead, we should have just focused on product. Just walk us through that, just like however you want that to be helpful for the audience.
Well, I'd say that there's no one formula that fits all situation. In hindsight, I don't think there were mistakes. I'd say there were learnings, certainly. We won't be here if we had not made those investments in learning. In terms of the things that I do think we should have done this, maybe things would have been different, but there are no guarantees. So we didn't really focus too much on selling from our website in the initial phase. But the reasons were very different. We hadn't raised a lot of money. So there was no money to spend. So the obvious choice was, how do you sell sustainable, and how do you sell while keeping your bottom line in check? You don't get money, you're not able to pay salaries. So I think for every person, the situation will be different. In our case, because we didn't raise money, the question always used to be, how do you do this in a fashion where I get money from the customers, which also becomes a validation for my product and at the same time keeps me afloat. Which functions are critical to do this? So technology back then to me wasn't that critical because I wanted physical product in the customer's hands. However, if you're doing a technology-driven startup, then obviously tech has to be something that you need to understand. I didn't understand technology. I understood problem solving. I understood product. That is something that we kept core to us. We didn't understand technology. We said, let Amazon handle that. My thing used to be, they can do this better than us at a better cost right now. Let them handle it. When it came to a stage, that way tech was something where we said, not our strong suit. Product was a strong suit. We kept it in-house. Marketing was a strong suit. We kept it in-house. Supply chain, Amazon handled initially, right? As and how we kept building these building blocks and opportunities started becoming clearer, we said, what is the next most critical thing for us to have a better grip on? So product is one. Next, if your product reaches your wife, your girlfriend, mother, because see, P-Buddy was the first one. It wasn't replacing a product. It wasn't like a face wash versus another face wash, jeans versus another jeans. It is about getting them to stand and pee, women standing and peeing, right? If the product is wrong, very, very core, then she'll never try us again. She'll rule us out. So product was something that I thought was extremely critical. Keep it in-house. Second was experience. Is she getting it in time? If tomorrow she wants to return it, what if my call center doesn't answer? We were 3-4 of us. What if the phone rings, they don't answer? So that's why that was something that we trusted Amazon with, or the supply chain, or the marketplace partners for that matter, as they started opening up. So for us, it's been an iterative journey. I mean, different phases of your life would get you to different things. But I think the only question that you need to ask, which we keep asking ourselves today also, is how critical is this to ensure that the final promise that we're making to the customer will be met? If I compromise on this aspect, will the experience be compromised, or just is it something that I can still afford to go wrong with?
Yeah, totally makes sense. And just walk us through. And here we are today. You are successful. You have a lot more resources. You also have a much more wider product line, right? So you probably started with maybe one product or two, and now you have 10, and maybe in the future 20. And one thing I think all D2C brands are thinking is, how do I make a customer not just buy from Amazon, but buy from my own touch point? Because your ability to deliver an experience stuff is much higher, for which you need technology and all of that. And the customer is expecting sort of the experience that they're using on Amazon. So how are you thinking about it, that technology part going forward?
So now we are femtech, as in the typical traditional definition. We have an app, obviously used by about 80,000 odd customers. We have, we came up with India's first, in fact, perhaps it was world's first period tracker on WhatsApp. We said you don't need to really have an app to track your periods and other things that you might want to track. So I think the way we look at technology is not from the lens of can this get customer closer to me. I think it always is like, does the customer need this? And if the customer needs it, that tech stack, if needs to be in-house, we build it in-house. If it's supposed to be outsourced, we outsource it. So for example, this WhatsApp period tracker, I didn't want to create another WhatsApp. What is the problem statement? Problem statement is she should be able to track her periods effortless. So yeah, I gave an app. We have a tech team which is making the app, fantastic app, everything done. Did it really solve the problem? It didn't solve the problem for about, say, 70-80% of women who might not have really fancy smartphones. So what was easy for them? WhatsApp was easy. So then we outsourced that part to say, let's just do stuff which is good for the customer. So that's the starting point. And technology, I mean, as you need to, I think, look at it from the lens of what is it that you can afford at this stage, and if it is something that you can afford and it is critical to your business, absolutely invest in it. If it is not, then I think things can wait a little. I think we can just pace it out.
Yeah. And in your case, Deep, because I'm just focusing on this because you've taken the journey of sort of like from zero to something like app and so many things. So you must have been in some part, like maybe let's say 2018, 19, where you were not quite as big as you are today, and maybe not as many product lines like period tracker and such more technology type things, but more like you're just selling a product, like or one more thing. And from like selling on Amazon to like having your own app, there must have been some stage where you may have started a Shopify store and then went to maybe Magento, and then maybe your own website, and then eventually a app. Can you just walk us through like the trajectory?
So because there was nobody who understood technology better than me back then, so decisions were more, I understand this, let me just try to do this. So we started with WordPress, moved to, we tried Magento also. Then we moved to Shopify. And now obviously there's a custom built solution that we have. That's been the tech journey. But for the first 3 out of the 4, the first 3 were outsourced. And because there was nobody who understood this very, very well in-house, it's never that I would say it never became a strong suit. Last 1 year, a year and a half, it has been something that we can proudly say that, we understand this space very, very well. So we acquire whatever 50,000-60,000 customers every month through our own website. And these are new customers. So that's how it has panned out. And also, so 10 are, by the way, unique India first products. We have a total of 40 products. We've also acquired 1 brand. We're in the process of acquiring another. So some of these things coming from that lens only, that can we build it? Is it something which we should build, or is it something that we should just buy? So similar. So we ask that question at every stage, whether it's tech, is it something that we build or we buy? Is it required right now? So if the answer to that is yes, it's required right now, build or buy. Product required right now, yes. So, in one of the brands that we recently acquired was into women's safety. Now, if you look at it, puberty to menopause, she's traveling out, toilets is a problem, period is a problem, safety also is a problem. So were we ready, having served millions of women? We said, yes, we are ready. we can also take care of their safety. Now, do we build this product which for safety? Do we buy this product? Building meant technical, expertise which we didn't have. So we bought it. In many cases, so we bought this brand, and in many cases where we believe that it is something which is a logical extension of our range only, we do it ourselves. So for all the four, whether it is, you said technology, marketing, product, or supply chain, it starts with saying, do we need it? Do we have the expertise? If we have the expertise, if you don't have the expertise, please outsource. It's nothing that this function can never be outsourced. If you do not have the expertise in R&D, I believe we should outsource. Till the time you build it in-house. Is it good to have it in-house? Absolutely. Your core thing should always be in-house. So if you're a product company, let's say in the case of Neemans, and I love that. And now I have maybe 4 pairs of Neemans. I like the shoes, and not really whether the website is on Shopee. I just wanted to take the order, deliver it, sort of thing. So I think
totally makes sense. Because how do you guys at Neemans think about this conundrum? Critical, but don't have resources today or expertise today. So, should we invest in, sort of like getting the resources right now and build or outsource? What is your framework, and what have you learned, and, through obviously trial and error?
Right. I would say, completely resonate with what Deep had to say, right? We need to focus on what our expertise is, right? And what's required at the moment, right? And there's nothing that you cannot outsource, right? And since the start, we have always believed that product is something that we need to be really good at, right? Product is something that needs to be USP. Right now, there are thousands of brands out there, footwear brands, right? And how do we stand out? So there has to be a USP, right? And that is something that we have always believed, that we need to have that particular thing in-house, right? And even today, anything to do with product design, anything to do with innovations, or anything to do with R&D, right? What sort of raw materials to use, what sort of comfort level. Even when we talk about footwear, right, each element within footwear will define the comfort level, right? So focusing on those nitties and gritties, right, that is very much required. And that is where we have always believed that product is something that key, that should be something that has to be in-house. Right now, second thing is, we have always been a digital first brand, meaning website first brand. Even to date, right, we are our presence of the customers, the presence of our customers is, way higher than on our website than any of the marketplaces or even the any other channels, right? So that is where we have always believed that wherever there are these high ownership tasks, right, that is where those are the things that has to be in-house, right? So we have being very we have performed pretty decent in terms of performance, right? Performance marketing, right? So and that is something during the early days, right? That is something that got us a lot of visibility, that got us a lot of traction. And what we want is to reach out to the people in the early stages, to reach out to the masses, right? If not masses, maybe a certain set of audience, right, which we want to target, right? That is where it really helps when you have I would say even the digital marketing aspect, or the performance marketing aspect, has always been in-house for Neemans, because that is something that we had to own it up, that we sort of trusted with it, right? And we sort of in our bootstrap days, right, in our good 12 to 18 months of our journey, we trusted with the process, we sort of learned it by ourselves, right? And then with our learnings, that is where we figured a way out. And then even to date, product and performance, I would say even marketing function, are completely in-house at Neemans. So that's what it is. Now, to talk about tech, right? When there's always an option to have our own website, right? But now, the thing is, the faster you are, it's like going fast. And if you fail, you fail. But if you fail, you learn and you reiterate or re-innovate and build something else, right? So and that is where tools like, say, Shopify, Magento would help, right? To have your own store live pretty soon. So that is where that's what, right, we need to prioritize. What are the things that you need to be really good at, and what are the things that can work for you even at a large scale, even at a small scale. But say Shopify works for us even today, right? So and there is no, of course there will be certain barriers, but I would say there's nothing stopping by in terms of running the business, and in terms of not just running but also growing the business. right? So we need to leverage those things, right, available out there, and then why not make use of it? So yeah, that's my take on it.
Got it. Because you already touched on performance marketing. So I think what I've taken away from the session so far is clearly the two most important things to nail in the early stages is the product itself, right? Whatever the product is, like the hardware, let's call it, right? The shoe or the Peabody. And then the experience of the customer, right? Making sure customer, if they have an issue, you can solve it and all of that, right? And because that sets your, high NPS, and then of course you can grow. I'm assuming one important thing to really start with and own the narrative is the positioning, right? Who are you? What is your brand? And like, what do you stand for, right? I mean, you can't outsource that, I assume. Coming to marketing now, so marketing has two elements to it. One is obviously who you are and defining that, right? I think we can safely assume that is a core, so it works with the product and the promise that you are giving to the customer. Coming to performance marketing, Vikas, you said that you guys do 100% of it in-house. Is that been the case that when I say performance marketing, I mean the distribution element of what you have decided what you are, or was it a journey where it was done by an agency or something else, and then overall you build the expertise in house and then eventually do it in-house, or it's been from day one?
So I would say, I mean, of course, during the initial days, we do take support, right? But also, having said that, we also sort of believed in performance marketing. We sort of believed in the potential that it could have, especially, I mean, during the days when we started, right? Say we started in 2018, right? And I mean, that was the time where we were sort of gaining, sort of sensing that, okay, this is a place which could give a good amount of potential to us, good amount of returns to us, right? And also, so that is where we believe that, okay, this is a function that we need to have in-house. Of course, we learned from the consultants outside, right, in terms of running things up. But in fact, Taran took up the performance marketing in the initial days, right? And he sort of learned it, and he sort of, like, because if you believe in something, right, if you believe in something that, okay, this is something that's going to give me business, this is something where this is something that is going to give me growth, right, then it's always a thing that, okay, you learn it yourself, you pick those things up, right? And that should be a function that should be in the organization for the longer term, right? So that is where those initial days sort of helped. And of course there was support by the buddies in the D2C ecosystem, or as well as the consultants out there, the agencies out there. But it was more over in-house and less of that.
Understood. Deep, like how did you approach the performance marketing? I don't know if you do it. I'm sure probably you do some element of it. I guess what happens obviously is in certain teams there is either a deep interest or already an expertise in, because I think performance marketing is quite technical. Like it's not a creative element of it. How did you approach it in the beginning and then the middle and now?
So again, I think it's been a gradual shift. I'd say that I agree with what Vikas said, and I think that's how when we built Sirona. Early on, we realized that our own website sales is not something where we can take pride and say we excel at it. But even selling from Amazon, Flipkart, Nykaa of the world needed relationship building, right? At the end of the day, somebody had to get deeper and understand how these platforms work. So while for us, it wasn't about getting on a Shopify store or getting on running Facebook ads, it was more about ensuring that we get down on ground, meet all these guys every week, every month, travel Bangalore, Bombay, Pune to meet some of these portals and strengthening the relationships there, understanding what are the levers to scale. And that is something that I kept core to myself in the initial phase. I still do maintain those relationships. And then for market, as we went on D2C, as we went on our own website, initially it was more around saying, if the expertise needed to this is not in-house and I can't afford it, let it be outsourced, have somebody who learns with them, but doesn't let the brand narrative go awry, and it's not me, so we hired, a colleague of mine still runs it. And his role was only to say, this is something that you understand better, you do this, more power to you. You want to do it in-house, you do it in-house. You want to outsource it, outsource it. So first few months we worked with the partners. Eventually we took it over in-house. So right now, all the marketing related functions at Sirona except for small projects, maybe video making, etc., which we don't see is core to us. That is outsourced. Rest everything else is happening in-house. So it's been a mix at different stages. So marketplace has always been in-house. D2C was initially outsourced, then in-house, then outsourced, now completely in-house. Positioning of the brand early on, defining it was in-house, but getting experts to articulate it better was outsourced. Maintaining the tenants is in-house.
Got it. Cool. Now moving to, let's call it the hardcore stuff, the logistics and the supply chain. It's sort of like the real sort of world, not technology and social media. How have you approached it, Deep, the manufacturing element and ensuring the quality of obviously the product, and then of course warehousing, supply chain, how do you get delivery on time and then returns on time so that the customer experience is sort of what they expect on Amazon?
Sure. No, so because we were marketplace, like I said, in the first for the longest time, now we are omni-channel, by the way. So we sell from our website, we sell offline, we export, we do marketplace, obviously. But I think for me, I was just lucky that I had a very good co-founder, and we had complementary skills. While I would say I'd like to believe I'm okay with product, I'm all right with marketing, I'm okay with fundraising. Everything else, finance, ops, production, Mohit is very good at. So we divided those tasks, and I don't meddle into other person's domain beyond a point. So those three functions he completely looked at. And again, initial phase, logistics. So let's say supply chain. No matter how hard I try, if I'm just selling 100 units a day, no delivery, nobody else is going to pick my orders and ensure it gets delivered the same day. So the quantum was low. We said, let's absolutely own the product, the packaging, the experience, the damages, all that we kept in-house. So Mohit would travel to the factories, ensure that when the products are coming to our warehouse, at that point they are checked, and that at warehouse, we still have our warehouse in-house. While there are a lot of 3PL partners through whom we work, but the first parent warehouse is here, in Delhi, because we say we are just a little obsessed to say, we are a hygiene company. We want to ensure that we check that whatever is coming is fine, and then it's replicated through 3PL partners. Initial phase, till it was about making the stock available to marketplaces warehouse. The manufacturing was outsourced, but controlled. Warehousing was in-house, still is in-house. Marketplace delivery used to be through a 3PL, through logistics partner. So that is still outsourced in that business. When it comes to our own website, manufacturing, still outsourced, but very strong control in, ensuring that the product that we order and what we get, we have a lab in-house. So we check products, then it goes to the warehouse. Warehouse, still the product is checked before it's replicated. And now, because we have our own D2C, all the partners are, tied up directly as well. And we do control that experience. So that's how it is.
Got it. And Deep, how do you sort of like, so today, as you said, you started with marketplace first, now you're omni-channel. Now within omni-channel, let's say you have the marketplace element, you're selling on Amazon and Nykaa. And then second is you're selling on your own website. One of the things, obviously, the reason you have your own website and so many brands have their own website and sometimes exclusively their own website. I think Neeman is maybe like that. And Vikas, do you guys sell on a marketplace also, or it's like very much the philosophy is come to our website to buy?
Oh, we do. We in fact have the share it at marketplace is now increasing for Neemans as well, right? But our focus has been more over website, but now we have also sort of.
And obviously the reason to focus on your website, one of the reasons is that you can control a lot of things experience-wise, and then build a relationship with the customer, tell your story better, which obviously Amazon will not be able to do just because it's more generic. And then last but not the least, increase lifetime value, right? You can kind of like sell the next shoes or a sock or whatever the affiliated product your company is coming up with today and in the future. But one of the things that is super hard is to match the Amazon service experience, right? Obviously Amazon over decades and so much money has built phenomenal logistics and phenomenal customer support. And then this reverse logistics thing, right? Where I don't like this and can you take a return and stuff, right? One of the things that we hear a lot from D2C brands is it's not uncommon that folks spend a decent amount of money on performance marketing or whatever type of thing to get the customer there. They look at stuff there, learn the story, understand the product, like what is the product, because they will not get that information maybe on Amazon, but go to Amazon to buy because, they feel like Amazon is safer, or they will get it faster, or if there is a support issue, Amazon, they have an experience with Amazon. So therefore, to solve the problem that we all have in D2C, we need to sort of like level up over time the Amazon level experiences. How are you approaching it? Because maybe we can start with you. How are you approaching it? Because, my problem with buying shoes online is just like any other. It's like, will it fit me or not, right? I mean, if it does not fit me, I have to send it back. I have a sense of what Amazon does, and it's pretty decent. I like the Neeman shoes, but I've never bought Neeman. So, you have an opportunity to either impress me or not. And that is a pretty high bar because Amazon is pretty good. How do you approach this problem?
Well, that's a very valid question, right? I mean, and that's now, I mean, coming to Neemans, so what we have been since day one is how to be customer first, how to deliver, customer delight is what we are looking out for, right? And now, having said that, I mean, a few of the things that we do, right? I mean, and that was, and when you said that, when especially if you're buying a shoe, right, you're not sure what shoe size will fit you, right? And that happens with and that's obvious, right? Because what happens is every brand, I mean, though this shoe sizes are standard, right, it could vary, right? The fabric could vary, I mean, there could be, I mean, the shoe could run a size up or a size lower as well, right? So what we do is, so when, I mean, now to talk about customer journey, right, or customer experience, what we want to do is at every touch point, where the customer interacts with the brand, we are looking at how can we create a delight to the customer, right? And that doesn't happen only at the time of buying or post a purchase, right? That also happens at the very first touch point when we are running our ads, right? How can we have ads that sort of captures sort of curiosity, or captures sort of delight for the customers, right? When we are running our any sort of campaigns that we are running, right, that is what we are looking at, right? And that's where say they click on the ads, or they like the campaign, they visit our website, right? On the website as well, what is the experience that we are giving to the customers, right? How smooth is the checkout, right? How and I mean, are we giving all the information, I mean, all of the information that, or whatever is the most critical information for the customers, are we communicating that to the customers, right? And then comes the curiosity part, and then comes the confusion part, right, where the customers might not be sure, okay, if a size, say UK size 8 would fit me or not. I'm not sure if mine is UK size 8 or US size 8 or whatever, right? So that is where what we do is we also I mean, lay out our customer first policies, right, where any issue with the size or anything, say what we want to do is so we are also a young brand, right? So we want customers to try our products, right? And if they do not try our products, we have lost them, right? So first thing is we want them to try our products, so we need to gain that trust, right? So that is where we communicate that I mean, 7 days, it's a no questions asked exchange or return policy, right, that we have. So anything that happens to your shoe, say in the first 7 days, you can try the shoes out, and it's a free trial sort of a thing, right? If you don't like, you can always return it back to us, right? So that's one thing. Now, having spoken about that, the second thing, I mean, now what if anything comes out after 7 days as well, right? So again, we are very, like I said, right, we are very sensitive to our customers, right? If anything comes out, and we would go out of our I mean, I mean, whatever is our call of duty, right, we will go beyond the call of duty in order to get that particular resolution done to the customer, right? So so that is what, and that is what helps the brand in the long run, right? I mean, that is something that would help us. So that's again, I mean, again, one more thing is during the transit, right? So customer has placed the order. Now the customer has placed the order, how quicker can we get the product delivered to the customer is also something that we look at, right? So, and also, I mean, the quality of the product, right? And doing multiple QCs, multiple quality checks, right? One quality check happens at our of production facility, then there will be another that will happen at our warehousing facility, one more at the time of the product getting dispatched, right? So we want to ensure that only the best quality products are getting delivered to the customers, right? And also in the quickest time possible. So so yeah, I mean, that's briefly what we have been doing in terms of gathering the or rather creating a really good delightful customer experience. And yeah.
Got it. And Deep, how do you do that? Like, you're selling on both the marketplace and your website, and obviously you probably want as many people come to your website and stay there and buy more things. At the same time, you're competing with the Amazon service experience. How you approach that problem?
I believe that it's very difficult to influence a customer to buy only from your website. While for us, our brand might be the world. For a consumer, it's just one decision, right? And if depending on which category you're in, if you're a very high involvement category, like perhaps shoes, you might be willing to go to the website of the brand, explore far more, and understand this a little more detail. But let's say, like, we also are into hair removal solutions for women. That's a razor, right? It's a razor, is a razor, is a razor, is a razor. So you're used to buying it from 100, you've been buying it for so many years. You want to buy, mine might be better. So the one you need to understand is, okay, how is this better? So you might explore it on my website, and you don't want to just order 200, 300, 400 rupee item and say, okay, I'll do COD or whatever. So when I'm buying 10 items on Amazon or Nykaa or Flipkart, I'll just add. So depending on which category you're in, I believe one should make a strategy where we say that our role is, let's say if you're on a category like ours, hygiene, where awareness is important, then my role is to just educate the customer and then let her buy from wherever she is more comfortable. And I've seen the pattern that even if she's bought from us for the first time, so I told you about our cups, right? The menstrual cups. Menstrual cup is an alternate to pads. So Sirona menstrual cups are country's best-selling menstrual cups. 1 million women are using it, which means every month they must be using something other to clean it. Now she's not buying the wash from my website anymore, because when she buys her other products from whatever portal she's buying it from, she picks it up because it's a 150 rupee item, as a top up. So even if I want to keep in touch, get her to know more of my products, I believe for a business like us, it's critical to be on every portal possible where she's going to explore hygiene. And so the ethos here is, if it's marketplace, let's be on every good marketplace and be with the right content. Don't compromise there. And if it's our website, ensure that obviously the content will absolutely be top class. Ensure that the experience is not compromised at all. So there's a no questions asked policy, like Vikas was also talking. In our case also, I just I wrote about it incidentally a couple of weeks ago, where I said, I think what sets Sirona apart is we don't start from a point to say customer galat bol raha hai, ho nahi sakta. So it's never about that. It's about, we are saying, assume that he's saying right. In the process, maybe 3, 4, 5 customers might take advantage. But the 4, 5 who are genuine and actually escalating it, if you earn them at that stage, you earn them for life. So we say that you take the feedback as genuine and then investigate, and not the other way around, that we'll investigate and come back to you. So from our website, we cannot honestly take on Amazon's kind of trust that they have built. But what we can absolutely do is, you might not buy again. You might, maybe product reach damaged, not because of my fault, because of shipping. I can't control that. I'll refund your money. You'll be happy. Just don't, have bad feelings about the brand. So from our website, that's the focus. From marketplaces, the thing is, let's deliver it in the right quantity, and the content should be right on every port.
Got it. Very, very interesting. So we are getting close to sort of like the point where we'll probably open it up for question and answers. I just want to quickly just ask a question, and I'll maybe start with Vikas first. Today, and to the extent you guys talk about it openly, thinking about internet commerce, e-commerce, how much of your product, let's call it JVM or number of units, are sold on a marketplace versus sort of like your own website, whether it's an app or a website? Is it 50-50? Is it 30-70? Can you give us a sense, Vikas?
We are good at, 2/3 of the sales happen through our website and then marketplaces, right? And like Deep pointed out, right? I would agree with that. This is also phase we need to be omni-channel, right? We need to have our presence in multiple channels, right? Multiple marketplaces as well, right? And this is what we are trying to build. We are also trying to, increase the share of the. We are also trying to increase the share of the marketplaces of the offline channels as well, right? And maybe international, looking for global expansion as well. So those are a few things that definitely we are looking at. So yeah, but that's a share. Yeah.
Yeah, makes sense. So let's say you sell 100 rupees worth of stuff, 70 is on your website, 30 is thing, and you are obviously overall, I guess your goal is to make 100 and 1,000, right? So let's assume let's take some long period of time, like maybe 5 years, right? Reasonably long, but not too long. Let's say you will go from 100 shoes sold in a day or whatever to 10,000, right? Ideally, what would you want your mix to be? Like ideally, assuming sort of like an idealized version of the world, would you want it to be 70-30 still? Would you want it to be 50-50? Would you want it to be something else?
I would say, I mean, if not 70-30, right? Again, marketplaces, when we grow, we can grow very fast, right? Once we crack the model, right? And that is what we have been noticing, right? Since say last year, we were at, say, 85-15. That was the split. Now it's 2:1, right? So split will be increasing as we also grow our presence in the marketplaces, as more and more buyers buy from the marketplaces. But I would say, I mean, there's no right answer to it, but I would suggest still, I mean, 50-50 would be great, given the kind of experience, the kind of, the story, the kind of, the delight we would want to create for the customers. That could be a lot more when it comes to our own website. And there could be a lot many other things from a business standpoint as well, which would make sense to have from the website. Yeah.
And Deep, how where are you right now in that split, and sort of like in an idealized version when you are 10x bigger than where you are today overall, where would you ideally like it to be?
So, it's difficult to speculate, Nitya, because I don't know where the world will move in 5 years, honestly. If everybody moves to a situation where people are only buying online, then I would want all the business to come in from online, and I will pivot. But as of today, let's say if everything stays the same, we are at a stage where 20-25% of our business is around our marketplaces, but remaining is all either marketplaces or offline or exports. And I don't see any reason why we should fuss over this percentage, given the nature of our product. Like in the case of Vikas, different, right? I want to explore, I want to see the show, I want to see the design. The own website will give far better experience rather than a small dial on a Mitra or a Amazon. So obviously your own website, but in my case, my only intent is to let the customers know about the concept of Peabody and about the concept of the Sirona menstrual cups or Sirona razors or Sirona tampons. So because that's the essence, our main objective here is to spread awareness. And as that grows, we would have to go far more omni-channels. Maybe new channels will evolve. So for me, today it's 100, tomorrow it's 1,000. I don't see the ratios would change. Whichever channel we can sell profitably is where we should be. And whichever is the most convenient for customers.
Got it. Makes sense. One of the things that we see and try to extrapolate the future a little bit is the exciting thing that is happening. So if you look at the last 20 years of internet and technology and tools, what has enabled is through, all these things like cheap internet, fast internet, mobile phones, and all these technologies that have been developed over multiple decades, that pretty much every single person is on the internet now, regardless of, country or social bracket. And that's not because it happened. It was because new things were created, technologies were created, phones came, they became affordable, then data and everything. We believe we are already in this very interesting motion of enabling businesses to come online, and not just come online, but compete with very large platforms like Amazon on sort of even the service level. Not sort of like just doing some sort of Herculean effort, but because technology is just going to make things easier, right? What used to be like, I don't know, like 3 years of work by 100 engineers is now an API integration away. A classic example is Shopify, right? Deep, when you started in 2015, the thought of having a Shopify, although it was probably around, was not there, right? And, that means there's just not an option. You have to be sort of like on a marketplace. And fast forward today, not only we have Shopify, we have things like you can even be a Kirana store owner and like use Dukaan or Bikai or something and like just use an app and like in 2 minutes come online, right? And then as you extrapolate all those things, and now you can connect an API and like logistics happen, and like who the hell knows what will happen in 5 years. And like we feel like there is a very interesting inflection point from a pure technical point of view, that people like D2C brands will be able to stitch together APIs, literally APIs, not having to build, to create that experience for the customer, not only the product experience, which we all agree has to be much better on your website because you can tell them the story and visualize it in the right way, but also service, which includes logistics, customer support, and therefore build trust, almost like Amazon. So that's what we believe, and actually at Simpl hoping to play a very important role, and that's our sort of mission. Cool, awesome. This is a great chat. We have a lot of attendees. I'm sure there are a lot of questions here. So I'll pause with my questions, although I have a lot of more. And we can take some questions to Upasana. I don't know what the process would be, but we can put it on the chat, or maybe people can just talk. That'll be awesome.
Yeah, sure. Absolutely. Nitya, I had requested folks to put questions in the chat. Folks, once more, if you have any questions, please put them on the chat. I think you may even raise your hand. We can have you ask questions directly. So in case there are any questions, anything.
There's a question from Gaurav Agarwal. Gaurav, do you want to ask a question? And if you can come on video, that'll be awesome. Upasana, it is possible that Zoom does not allow, it sounds like there are two versions of attendees here.
Yeah, this is a webinar format, so attendee can't come.
Yeah, but they can post questions, right?
Yeah. Gaurav and anyone else, can you just please just put your question in the chat? In the meantime, let me quickly ask a question, and this is something very interesting. On your website, not on Amazon Marketplace or in a store, on your website, what is the percentage of cash on delivery that you encounter? I don't know if a lot of brands don't even offer anymore, but let's say you offer. What do you see, Vikas, on your platform? What percentage is cash on delivery?
That's again 40% of our orders are cash on delivery.
Got it. Yeah. And Deep, what do you see?
Similar to, it's around the same mark.
All right. Is Gaurav writing the question? Or someone is writing the question?
Yeah, there is a question I see there. Gaurav has written a question. Yes.
Oh, I don't see a question.
Okay, so
I got it.
Gaurav says, Deep mentioned about the co-founder taking care of half the workload. Can we talk on finding co-founders?
Well, you should absolutely find a co-founder if you can, my friend. It is one of the biggest blessings you can give yourself. Most important. I think it's more around finding the right team members. I've had some of the team members here are there with us for 5 years, 6 years, and they're far more, I would say, competent than all the so-called the CXO team that we now have. Co-founder, co-team member, whatever you want to call them, how important it is, extremely important. Where to find them? More often than not, you will find them within your own network. Go with people, it's like almost getting married. So date as much as you can, get to know the other person. Once you've decided, go and commit. So titles, nomenclature can vary. Is it important? Absolutely. Tarun is blessed to have Vikas. Title does not matter. Honestly, we have one EIR here. We have founders office. There are rock stars that we have. It's about just finding the right people. Title doesn't matter, but important to have.
Got it. I can see the question now. So I guess the second question this is an interesting question. HR outsourcing, right? So, you have 2 people in a room or maybe 5 people in a room, and all you want to build is a product. And now there is obviously compliance and some operations. Deep or Vikas, one of you want to take a question? I think this question is mostly for the early stages. Obviously, when you're big, I guess you don't outsource this type of stuff. Any thoughts?
So if I may, because I'm sorry, I have a hard stop at 12. So I'll add whatever value I can add, and then I'll carry on. HR outsourcing, absolutely. See, anybody who can help you find great talent initially, do that. If you have somebody in-house who is good at it, do it in-house. Outsourcing always helps. See, there's some tasks where expertise can save a lot of money. HR being one. Helping you articulate your initial marketing positioning is second. Legal is third. So there are many tasks where outsourcing works out far better. So outsource it and get it done with it. Multiple people can work on different roles. You can hire faster. So that's where it is. Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. Vikas, let me, how about you answer the next question, which is, I guess the question is around the economics of selling on a marketplace versus your sort of website. Are very different, right? And not just different from like the first order effect, but perhaps the second order effect, maybe retention and all those things. Because can you just walk a sample, maybe unit economics, or try to give Roshan and the rest of us some sense on how do you think about economics of marketplace versus your own website?
Sure. So again, I mean, there are multiple costs attached at both the places, right? Marketplaces as well as the website. Now, if you look at it again, it's not that we don't need to market our products on marketplaces. That is also something that we need to do, right? We need to advertise, we need to promote our products, right? Again, there's a spend associated with that, right? Then there will be a spend, of course, of the sale that you are doing. There will be certain commission that you need to share. But again, this answer is very, I would say industry specific, right? Now when we talk about footwear, right? I mean, the costs involved with logistics are also high, right? Because we work on volumetric weights, right? So the volumetric weight is nothing but the length, breadth, and height of the product, and then whatever the cost. So in short, the costs involved with logistics are also high, right? Which is sort of similar compared to marketplaces. Logistical cost. We directly work with the logistic partners, right? We are direct partnership with the logistic players. I would say the additional cost that we bear in terms of marketplaces is in terms of the extra ads that we are running, and second would be in terms of the commissions that we are paying to these marketplaces, right? Now, overall, I would say the selling on marketplaces would be around 20% expensive for us. Now, the reason being the type of the customer base that we have through our website sales is different than that of marketplace. And now again, every marketplace would be different, right? The customer base that will be having the likes of say Amazon or at the likes of Myntra could be completely different, right? And that's completely different from our website as well. So the customer the quality, the type of customers that will buy products from these marketplaces would be different. So that is why it's ideally around 20% higher, because we also see a lot of returns and exchanges through marketplaces than the website.
Got it. And I think we are just running on the hour now. And Deep, I know you have the hard stop, but let's take one last question. And Deep, in the meantime, if you have to go, just like you can leave. And I'll just have the last question go to Vikas so that this thing. What about accounting, Vikas? And do you feel accounting as a function, especially in very early stages, should be outsourced? It's like nothing to do with your product or experience or customer, but sort of like this money thing. How do you think about that?
So,
Deep, thank you very much for being with us,
guys.
No, we really appreciate the time. Yeah, thank you.
See you soon.
happy interacting with you, Deep.
See you. Bye. Thanks.
Thanks, Deep. Thank you.
Bye, man.
So in fact, I can take this up, right? I started my journey as a finance professional, right? So, I would say, again, it's again the point being expertise, right? What's your expertise? What are the things that you need to focus on? And there are a few things that we could better leave it to the experts. Like that also means when it comes to finance or accounting, right? We do not have that in-house capabilities, and whereas outsourcing is also cost effective in a way, right? Especially in the early days. And as we learn things up, right, that is where we can start building the team, and then we can further. But initially, it's okay to outsource accounting function, is what I would say, bookkeeping function.
Got it. Awesome. Well, Vikas, thanks so much for taking the time. You have a ringside view of how brands are getting built. Thanks for sharing with all of us. This was a great session. Upasana, thanks for putting this together for all of us. We really appreciate this initiative.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Nitya. Thank you, Vikas. And thank you everyone for joining us. In case you have any follow-up questions, etc., please don't hesitate to send them to us. We will try and see if they're getting answered anyway. Thank you so much, folks. Look forward to the next month's episode as well. That is going to be, I think, on brand building. And we'll be in touch with you. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone, for attending. Thank you. Bye.